Over 1/3 of BMW sales are SUVs meanwhile, and in 2017 the BMW X1 was the most successful BMW worldwide. Well, then they figured, let's make another SUV, a sibling of the X1 called X2. This is it, the BMW X2 today in our full review on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the exterior, explain you all of the different lines that are available, the interior, same there too, which choice do you have, which one should you go for, and of course the driving experience, which is supposed to be more dynamic than the other SUVs. If that's true, let's find out in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! So the manufacturers have great ideas what to do with color names. You remember the Kurkuma yellow at Volkswagen? This one here is called galvanic gold. Ooh. So what have they done with the front here? You see that the BMW double kidney is, first of all, for a still relatively small car, really huge, and this part here would usually be here, so they flipped it around a little bit to make it a little bit different style than usual with the BMW double kidney, to make this car a little bit more extraordinary, actually. The base model, by the way, and you can easily go for that, is a little bit styled differently in the left area. It doesn't make too much of a difference, and it's also in the vehicle color right here. The same goes for the M Sport model, which has a larger air intake on the left and the right side, and is painted in vehicle color right here, a little bit stronger bumper in the lower part. And this one here is the M Sport X model, which has this sporty crossover look at the same time, and then with the contrast silver or gray here in this area already. I will tell you more about the difference also in the side profile. Halogen headlights are the standard one. Those ones here, the optional LED, full LED headlights you can get. 4.36 meters or 14'3" is the total length of this vehicle. It's exactly the same as the BMW X1, and it's also on the same front-wheel drive architecture, optional then with all-wheel drive. Galvanic gold here again in full glory. This one here, the M Sport X model, you can see has again this gray contrast at the wheel arches. If you go for the M Sport line without the X, this is in vehicle color. And the base model has the normal crossover SUV style, just with black plastic here around the wheel arches, which is again totally fine. So here I can already tell you, just save some money. You know, we are doing videos to give you the best advice, and that you can also save money, get the best price performance value. Stay with the base model and already looks fine in crossover and sporty stylish. 17-inch to 20-inch rims are available. Those ones here are 19-inch. They come with M Sport X or the M Sport package and have this two-color scheme. Pretty, spectacular for sure. And one more thing, here you can see also the big difference to the X1. This one has this coupe style ending. Also the roof is flatter and the window graphic is very narrow, making a bigger shoulder and also a sportier appearance. And another BMW logo. They say it is inspired by former BMW coupes. And yes, vintage BMW coupes had the logo here. I mean, it looks quite nice, but what is funny that overall you then have 8 BMW logos on the car. Front, rear, side, same side on the other side, makes 4, and 4 wheels, 8 BMW logos. So everyone see you have a BMW. And now to the rear, which has rather a compact hatch style than an SUV style. The tail lamp is also horizontally drawn, here also with the LED daytime running light. What is special is that those ones are real exhaust pipes and they are really huge. Even with the diesel here, this is the diameter actually of a BMW X6. And let me just confirm that. That's the actual exhaust. It's true. Then This one here again, the M Sport X line to have more contrast here. However, you can also, seen in the side profile also at the lower parts of the doors. I think the M Sport X line is a little bit too much. Not very clean in the design. But what do you think? I would like to hear your feedback on that one. Is it too much contrast? Would you rather prefer it in vehicle color? Just put it in comments. Other than that, you can see the BMW logo here on the rear. This one will play in effect when we open the trunk, because you can flip it like this and then the trunk opens like this. Soon more to the interior and the trunk space. This one will also be very exciting. Well guys, this one here is a very nasty BMW. It's basically the BMW XXX, because this is the BMW X2 M Sport X X-Drive 20D. Well, those namings, I don't know. So what about engines? This one here is a diesel 2-liter 4-cylinder, available with 150, 190, the one we're driving today, or 231 horsepower. Then you get a 1.5-liter entry petrol level engine, 3-cylinder, 136 horsepower, and a 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol, 192 horsepower and 231. And exclusively for our friends in the US, you get the 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine also with 260 horsepower. Well, you guys in the US, you get the big boost. This is the car key, but you can also use the keyless entry like this, closing the car, or then just do finger or hand inside there and then the closing sound sounds a little bit high frequency, doesn't it? Not too pleasing, I have to admit. But then very well processed the interior, this soft touch on the top part, then this modern, not sure how to call it, structure. I don't know. But then a nice fabric here, also with a special design on the inside, leather red covers right here. So this is really, really well done. Also enough space in the lower part. Just for bigger bottles, I think doesn't fit that well. You open the trunk, the electric tailgate here, by the way, also, if you like. Then the interior, which is the M Sport X package. And that one is coming with the M Sport steering wheel. And also the sport seats, more shoulder support, and very well done, this microfiber or Alcantara on the outside and fabric on the inside. Similar we've seen in the 330i with the M Sport package in the 3 Series review. If you have the M Sport package, those yellow contrast stitches will be in blue. But now, pay attention, this one here is only available in Europe, or at least not in the US. The base for all is fabric seats. They will be perfectly fine, you can go with them. And in the US, you only get optional then the animal skin. So I would, just tell you that you can stay with the base model, save some money. And here you have, for example, Germany, you also have fabric as base, and then this Alcantara seat is also optional, this Alcantara fabric mix. It's really pity that they don't offer that one in the US. And no sensor tech available also for this model. Sensor tech is the leatherette BMW is offering. Seating position, well, I feel I have a little bit more room in the X1. One with is 86 or 6'1", still enough headroom, especially if you don't have the panoramic roof. As the seat is more a lying back position, when I put it down, I tend to get it a little bit more upright, that the seat is a little bit more even. So it's a little bit more comfortable to sit in. Memory function also available. The steering wheel can be adjusted all ways you might want to have it. Also easy to do that. Steering wheel, also the M Sport here, great to steer, compact ride size, great grip handle and stuff. Interesting, by the way, that you have another storage space in the front here, and this is attention to details here. Smoothly sliding down, not falling down. That's nicely done. The instruments, you can see nothing so far, just the circles here. Then when I put on the ignition, then they come to life and very clear to read. Nicely done. So I think it's also a good compromise between this analog and digital discussion. Interior overview. General, this horizontal stress. Of course, we know everything basically from the X1. Here in the M Sport X package, you also have the yellow contrast stitches here. Nice surfaces also they use for the dashboard. They have a structure, they look high class and also are a little bit soft touch. This one is still left here with those hotkeys, and you see I don't have to press them. I can just swipe over them, and then it's saying, for example, like the favorites they have saved on that one. So you can actually individualize that. Steering wheel again from this perspective, also a nice design. Cruise control on the left and volume on the right, for example. A separate climate unit. To me, that's very important, just to, not to be distracted while driving and just easily do it. Well, guys, it's really hard to film the head-up display. I hope you can see it a little bit. It's not flickering in real life, and it's doing a great job to keep your line of sight on the road and still see info of speed and maximum speed allowed and some GPS information too. Infotainment system, here it is. So where's this right frame? You can either control it with a central control knob in the middle console, as you used to BMW, but here finally also with touchscreen available. The GPS is very well thought out. You can clearly see things, and it is really, really responsive. Even if you zoom in on the sea, you see great for this responsiveness. Then the home screen again. Communications, you can either just connect your phone via Bluetooth, that's possible, or you can also use the real connections. Here you have to go down and manage mobile devices, connect a new device. Android Auto is not available, but Apple CarPlay, and that one is also available wireless. That's special with BMW. However, so far they include it in the car price, but then in future there are rumors that they want to introduce a subscription model. Not just sure what to think about that. Glove box, standard size. Yeah, comes down slowly, but not too much room in there. Then thought out well here also with a soft touch around, yellow contrast. In the front you can put bottles, but the holes are not adaptive. And in the very front there's this adapter here for the 12-volt power supply. I would put an adapter maybe with USB chargers in there. I'll soon show you why. Then the automatic shifting lever, the sport mode selection. I will talk about that when we drive the car. This is the classic control for the infotainment system if you don't want to do it by touch. Then under the armrest you have one USB port just. You can of course charge your phone there. And then in the armrest, it's another possibility. When you put the phone right here, this is also for inductive charging and for the car antenna connection. And this armrest then with the leatherette cover can be adjusted. So it's also good to have it in the middle. And on special request, here the mirror is actually quite small. You cannot see that much, but it has an automatic light that goes on along with it. So let's take a look at the rear compartment. Well, let's say you need a van for your family, but you don't like a van style and rather want an SUV, but it shouldn't be too big. This one still works, you can see. Even if I would be driving as a tall driver, this works knee room wise. They have these gaps on the back of the seats. Also headroom wise, no problem for taller people. We have a lot of room in here. And also Isofix anchor points there, if you want to put 2 child seats on the exterior parts. 2 more of the sound system. This the Harman Kardon sound system, which is actually pretty decent sound. So if you're a music lover, it's a worthwhile option. Same Alcantara layout here, beautiful in the quality also for the rear. You sit, by the way, pretty upright and pretty comfortable. So I'm really delighted by that. And I would have expected that roof-wise, the X1 is way better than the X2 from design. But you can see it's still perfectly fine here too. cup holders here for the middle part. They are adaptive, that when the children put in the beverage, they're really kept tight. I think that's important. And you can, of course, already flip the seats from here, not up there, but in the lower part, you have this lever you can pull. Well, that's not too easy with one hand, so I'll use two. There we go. Top tether on the back part. Of course, we'll take a look how that one looks like from the trunk. And now the loading area, well, it still looks quite nice for a compact vehicle. Below here you have really a lot more space, but then this cover is there that you can load things through easier, just to put a backpack inside that you can see the dimension a little bit better. And I can also flip it around here, not only 2/3, 1/3 split, even the middle part can be put separately. And here we go. But of course, the X1, if you look at the height right here and also the width, the X1 offers you a little bit more room in the rear, so the design on the exterior limits it a little bit, but still, considering it looks so designish on the exterior, you still got a lot of flexibility. Welcome to the driving part. Oh, there's sand on the road. Well, I could have just driven over the sand, but if there was no facing traffic, made this great maneuver. I hope Michelle wasn't too surprised. For co-drivers or cameramen, it's always, when you don't know what's happening, you cannot hold on to the steering wheel. Yeah, I mean, that proves what the car is capable of. Actually, it's a nice direct steering, and it is really super agile. They've also set it up, in contrast to the X1, to be sporty in every different setup. And you have the different setups you can pick, actually, suspension-wise. There's the base suspension, which is already sportier than the X1 base suspension. Then there's the M Sport suspension, 10 millimeters lower, the one we're driving here today. And then, also 10 millimeters lower, there's an adaptive sport suspension, which then has a span of comfort and sport. Is then more comfortable in the comfort mode than this one, but even sportier than this one in the sport mode. So pretty interesting. I think I would go either for the base suspension, save money, have a more comfortable ride, or go all the way with the adaptive one that you can pick accordingly to the situation. Because this one here, the M Sport, normal sport suspension, is really sporty and really stiff. So as long as the roads are good, this is super fun. Really great drive. This one then doesn't really drive like an SUV, it rather drives like a sports car. And there's also now coming a very nice part ahead where we can cruise this car around really nicely. So again, as long as the roads are good, nice, but here, for example, now some bumps, you really feel them. So some potholes and stuff, that is getting rather uncomfortable. And for everyday driving, this might be a reason, again, to stay with the base, or then if you have plenty of money or just go for leasing with an interesting rate, have a lot of stuff included, then get the adaptive one. It's the same what I said with the BMW X1. Here again, the M Sport suspension is super fun to drive, but again, can be too uncomfortable in your everyday driving life experience, theoretically, depending on your road. If you have bad roads where you are close by, then probably don't go with it. And if you have great roads and have super sporty fun, then maybe you can do that. So let's continue with our review. Now we can apply some more speed. We're taking here this 190 horsepower diesel is doing a great job acceleration wise. So this is perfectly fine also. You do not need more power. I would like to test a petrol engine that was not available yet, but will be at the later stage. Here again, you see how precise the steering wheel reacts. It's really a lot of fun to drive this vehicle. I really enjoy that. So much fun. Well, we know with the biggest petrol that will be available in the US, you can have, of course, a little bit more fun. Consumption-wise, you always have to see. Here, for example, the minimum is 6 liters on 100 kilometers an hour. A realistic one rather up to about 7 if you mix more city driving and stuff. The petrol will be a little bit more. So it's not the highest consumptions we had so far, but it's also not really a very low one. Again, the focus here is on the very fun, agile, sporty driving, and that is really done perfectly. Indeed, a little sportier setup than with the X1, but also the X1 you can drive with a lot of fun. That's, for example, it was a fierce bump in the road, really got through to us. The seating position is, by the way, still very comfortable, but you know, with those sport seats you get a little bit more side support that helps you, especially in the corners. So overall, that's also really fine. As you can see here, you have enough power to accelerate from low RPMs also out. Then you can also switch to different driving modes. The Eco Pro mode helps you with sailing or coasting and saves you some fuel. For example, when you go off throttle, it's recuperating in this mild hybrid system that the other car systems, you know, as for lights, AC and stuff, are using more of the car battery than rather than using some more fuel. And also the throttle input is reduced just a little bit. However, when you go to the sport mode, that is exactly the opposite. Throttle input is increased. We better be safe with that here. Throttle input is increased. That's good for overtaking maneuvers. And also the gears are turned up higher, so you can get to higher RPMs before the car shifts automatically. The automatic transmission that is built in here is working flawlessly, seamless transitions when you drive calmly. At the same time, you can use the shifting pedals right here to shift up or down and have a little sportier approach. So you're always free of choice, and I would definitely recommend you to pick one of those automatic transmissions here. It's just good for comfort and for sporty riding too. You can keep both hands at the steering wheel all the time. That really helps you out. You can also take a look at the digital speedometer in the middle, but while driving it's really handy just to look at the front, at the head-up display. At the moment it's showing me the current speed and also the maximum speed I can drive. Let's see, 70 now, if that it's adapting. Yes, now it jumped from 90 to 70. So also showing me that when I maybe missed it somehow, that I've not really seen the sign. So that's also pretty helpful. Now we're getting to some more fun riding roads, but there's a truck in front of us. So I guess we'll wait just a second that we can have a little bit more fun. So let's go to the sport mode, and we have some gravel on the ground. Let's accelerate, see how that all-wheel drive plays out, because it's front plus rear-wheel drive on demand. Wow, that hooked up pretty well. Nice. That went pretty fast. And also some acceleration figure now. Let's say from 40 kilometers an hour. Let's hammer it in sport mode. Look, that's already 75 then. Wow. So that went pretty quick for this 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel. So acceleration figures will of course be, approximately the same when you have, for example, when you have around 230 horsepower with a petrol engine, something like that. Diesel engine, of course, where when you compare equal horsepower numbers, the diesel engine has more performance. And now some more fun in those winding corners here. Really a great car to enjoy. But again, also the X1 still is. So let's approach this one here. Of course, when you have the all-wheel drive, you do not really feel that is so much front-wheel drive focus, because some power is transported to the back anyway. But it's of course also not the feeling and with a rear wheel driven car from BMW that is more pushing you instead of pulling you. By the way, now we're driving about 80 kilometers an hour when I'm at the straight. However, if you drive a little bit faster, we also had some 120 on the motorway, and that was perfectly fine, very stable also from the car. Sound insulation, let's say, It's not best in class, so I've experienced some better, but it's definitely at a good level, so no problem with that. Next to the head-up display, the other assistance systems, for example the adaptive cruise control, is working flawlessly. I really like the one from BMW, keeping you at ease on the motorway, but also safe, keeping the distance and stuff, so I really like that. So what do you think? I hope you also had a little fun here together with us in the driving part. And now our conclusion for today, the BMW X2. For sure a unique design on the exterior. You get a compact SUV with a very sporty look. This is also the main differentiation versus the X1, for example. Well, the packages you have here, especially the M Sport X, I think you can also easily live with the base version and save some money because, you know, that is one of the main criticism points. It's a very, very expensive car. And so it's, you know, at least unless you have enough money, also wise just to leave it with some base specs, you know, to get a rather decent price. The interior, very well processed. So the days when BMW had really, you know, unworthy interiors seem to be gone. Really good in the build quality. Also, most functions are easy to use. The infotainment system was a little bit complicated still from, you know, from the menu, how it's arranged. Great with the Alcantara seats we've seen here today. Well, you don't get it on all markets, but I have left my remarks to that one earlier. Overall, I think very well done in the interior. However, I feel the BMW X1 is a little bit more comfortable. And, well, also as for the room you have available, I would always say go for the X1. That would be my tip. Better price performance, a little bit more comfort, a little bit more room. This one here you really pick if you want it so much for the design. And driving dynamics, a little bit more agile. Depends then again on the suspension. To me, it was a little bit too rough with the M Sport suspension. So I think you should also not go for this one. Either the top adaptive one or the base suspension. So those are my 2 cents, or 3 or 4 cents, or about 40 minutes cents for this vehicle. I would like to hear your opinion. Let's discuss this vehicle and join us next time. And don't forget to watch the X1 review to compare it. Thank you so much.